Hi, today we're going to look into the disease tuberculosis, some of its incident rates, causes, pathophysiology, treatments, diagnosis methods, and etc. And we'll be doing this over the course of 2 videos, so please do stay tuned for both of them. Okay, let's get right into it. First, TB's incidence across the world. Now, tuberculosis is a significant global health risk, and it is estimated that around 1/4 of the world's population have latent TB. Now, it's important to kind of just really highlight the fact that we're talking about latent tuberculosis here, because we have 2 types of tuberculosis. We have latent tuberculosis, and we also have active tuberculosis. This is something that we're going to be speaking on later on, but essentially, it is estimated that around 1/4 of the world's population have latent TB. And an estimated 10.6 million new cases and 1.5 million tuberculosis-triggered deaths are reported on an annual basis. And kind of just to let you know how this really feels, is it's 134 incident cases per 100,000 population, and these statistics have been reported by the World Health Organization under the category TB incidents. And now, the risk of tuberculosis is not essentially limited to a single geographical region, but there has been a number of regions that has been identified as high-risk zones. And this is particularly among the low and middle income zones, as well as zones where there are a lot of racial or ethnic minorities. And mainly, this has been in Southeast Asia. Currently, so far as I know, Southeast Asia reports the highest TB prevalence rate, and this is 45% of all TB cases taking place worldwide, and this is followed by Africa, which is responsible for 24.4% of all TB cases, and followed by the Western Pacific region, which reports approximately 17% of all TB cases. As of 2022, I think India accounted for the largest portion of all TB cases worldwide, and I think it was approximately 27% of all the TB burden globally that India was accountable for in 2022. And despite large major efforts being made in India to kind of curb these rates of tuberculosis, it still remains, I think, the country with the highest number of TB cases worldwide. Now, in terms of the ethnic prevalence of tuberculosis, tuberculosis is a disease of poverty, and along with other diseases like malaria, and it's generally really prevalent in certain ethnic groups and minority groups, even in a single geographical region. So even if we were just to look into the US, there is a high TB incidence rate among the racial minorities or regions where a lot of racial minorities resided. As of 2023, I think approximately 90.1% of all TB cases in the US were reported from ethnic minorities, and currently worldwide, Hispanics and Latinos report the highest proportion of tuberculosis cases, accounting for 36.8%, and this is followed by non-Hispanic Asian persons of 30.0%, and this rate has been reported by the CDC. Now, some of the causes of tuberculosis. Now, tuberculosis is an acquired infectious disease, aerobic disease that's caused by aerobic route bacterium called Mycobacterium tuberculosis. And it's really important to highlight the fact that this is acquired, it's not genetic, and the cause is identified as Mycobacterium tuberculosis. And the primary way of transmission for TB is through airborne droplets that are released by an infected person due to their sneezing or even coughing. And upon inhalation, the bacteria infects the lungs and it causes pulmonary tuberculosis. It is possible for tuberculosis to spread to other regions or other organs of the body, and this is called extrapulmonary tuberculosis. And this is where it infects other organs, including lymph nodes, bones, or kidneys, or even the brain. And if it infects the brain, it's called meningitis. In terms of some of the general risk factors of tuberculosis, this includes maintaining close contact with infected individuals, especially when one's immune system is weakened due to causes like, for instance, HIV. Malnutrition is, again, a high-risk factor, as well as smoking and diabetes, as well as having really poor living conditions and poor sanitation.